Hi. I'm going to describe the martial arts movie Fearless today. Beware of spoilers. Take care and be cautious. Yu Injia, age 10, is the son of Andy, a martial arts expert. Is never allowed to participate in training by Andy due to his asthmatic condition. However, the youngster has a love for Kung Fu. He makes every effort to sneak into his father's classes to pick up the fundamentals. A geeky youngster named Jin-sun is Hwa's lone buddy. He completes all of Hwa's calligraphy assignments so that he can focus on training. Andy is currently the second best martial artist in their community, but Zhao, the best, has challenged him, but that is about to change. Hwa is anticipating the fight with enthusiasm and is sure that his father will win. Andy has the advantage in the fight and is going to strike Zhao in the head. However, his moral principles and fair play prevent him from doing so. Zhao retaliates by taking advantage of his friendliness to win the match dishonorably. The incident breaks Hwa's heart. As soon as just the kids are present, Zhao's son challenges him to a duel. Hwa accepts the challenge with confidence but quickly loses. He makes a promise to become Tianjin's top martial artist and to redeem his family's reputation. He and Jin-sun enter his father's library where they take his martial arts book. Then, using the book, he practices non-stop all day and night. When Hwa feels prepared, he once more challenges Zhao to a duel. Zhao takes the challenge with confidence but is quickly exposed as being unprepared for a trained Hwa. Hwa has developed into a more skilled martial artist over the course of several years. He was left with a young girl when his father and wife died many years ago. Since she is his pride and delight in life, Hwa spoils her. Hwa hasn't lost since his last match against Zhao. He has faced a number of opponents, but none of them were strong enough to challenge him. Over the years, Hwa has also gained a sizable following. However, he has become proud along the way and is beginning to lose sight of his father's values. He frequently engages in drinking and socializing while allowing his followers to prioritize having fun over practicing. He consumes so much alcohol on some days that he neglects to bring his daughter home. He has racked up debt and spent all of his family's resources, but he remains carefree. He visits his close buddy Jin-sun, a wealthy businessman and proprietor of a well-known restaurant, one evening. Hwa treats his supporters to unlimited food and drinking into the wee hours of the morning. The assistant of Jin-sun reminds him that Hwa has accumulated a large amount of unpaid bills for more than a year. Later that evening, Jin-sun makes an effort to reason with Hwa. Jin-sun is aware that Hwa's followers only regard him favorably because he provides them with free meals and beverages. Hwa believes Jin-sun is just being frugal despite his request for him to be mindful of his spending. He runs across his fiercest rival Qin the next day. He is the lone man who hasn't yet engaged in combat with Hwa. Qin is regarded as the best martial artist by many due to the fact that he has also conquered every opponent. They have a small argument that wounds Hwa's pride. He beats his followers while they are in training as a way of venting his rage. One of his disciples needs to be carried to him in a stretcher at night. It transpires that Qin attacked him for an unknown purpose. Hwa is furious because he believes he did it out of spite. Qin and his family are having a birthday celebration in Jinsuan's eatery. Hwa enters abruptly with his group and begins drinking at an adjacent table. Qin requests that they put their rivalry on hold for the evening because he doesn't want to get into a fight. Hwa, though, is not in the mood to concede. Additionally, Jin-sun tries to stop him but is ridiculed in return. He ends their lifelong friendship in a fit of wrath. Hwa, who is now even angry, challenges Qin to a duel and orders him to kneel if he declines. For their own safety, everyone exits the eatery, leaving the combatants alone. They engage in a fierce struggle since their strength and skill are equal. But Hwa doesn't play fairly when he's enraged. He exhausts Qin with beatings before striking him in the chest with a fatal blow. He passes away right away as a result. When Hwa gets home in the morning, his mother's body is lying on her bed. To get revenge on Qin, her killers killed her. He sobs as he mourns her passing before abruptly recognizing that his daughter is also present. The biggest surprise of his life awaits him when he enters her room. She is bloodied and laying on her bed. She is holding a tiny pouch that she assured him she would give him when he got back home. When his followers notify Hua that the guy who was beaten up by Qin had insulted his wife, Hua leaves the house, broken by the murders he had brought about. Qin beat him for his wife's honor rather than out of hatred. Hua is so overcome with shame, regret, and grief that he cannot find a reason to continue living. He gets on the first ship and settles into a nook, content to travel wherever it leads. Hua has had enough of life after spending 6 months living on the streets. When he does the unfathomable, a group of people beside the river quickly intervene and save him. He is brought to their tribe, where they take excellent care of him. Hua enters a state of sadness and refuses to communicate with anyone even after coming to awareness. He is taken care of by Moon, a blind woman who worries that he will never leave the bed. His grandma, who has expertise, is sure that he will be alright in due course. Moon offers to cut Hua's hair one day after feeling it. He ventures outside for the first time in a month, walks with her to a river, and she assists him in shaving. He is now a part of their community as of that day. He assists them with farming, housework, and cooking. After a year, Moon and Hua begin to develop feelings for one another. Then, one day, a young member of their tribe is discovered stealing a cow from a nearby settlement. The grandmother and Moon ask the opposing leader's pardon. But in accordance with their custom, a mistake should be punished by beating until an incense burns out. Hua offers to accept the beating in place of the child and speaks up for the tribe. Adults receive a little different punishment, so Hua will have to contend with the leader. Hua can easily defeat him, but he no longer wants to use his skill to harm people. He doesn't even protect himself at first, but after little encouragement from the grandmother, he begins to avoid the blows. Despite the incense burning off, the leader is unable to strike him once. He concedes defeat and gives Hua accolades. Hua, Moon, and the tribe's youngsters are in the field the following day. Hua is unwilling to teach the kids kung fu despite their requests. He wants the tranquil community to stay that way since he is aware of what immense power can do to people. The adults disregard the children's harmless observation that Hua and Moon are the two who are closest to one another. Moon visits her parents' cemetery one day. Hua is reminded of his parents and the daughter he raised but left behind when she passed away. He wants to go back home and pay his respects at their graves now that his mental state has improved. When he tells Moon about his proposal, she enthusiastically supports him. Hua asks her to wait for him and makes a vow to come back as soon as possible. The next scene shows him entering his hometown of Tianjin, which has completely changed. Several powerful countries invaded and conquered China after the Qing Empire fell. Due to the partial colonization of Tianjin, the city received a number of foreign residents who influenced local culture. Hua visits his boyhood home, which is now a dilapidated old house. He is welcomed inside by Lai Fu, a family servant. Although he made every effort to leave things as they were before Hua left, a number of creditors decided to resell the entire house in an effort to recover their losses. Hua visits his family's grave and offers his father his apologies. He suddenly realizes why he missed the punch years ago when he had the opportunity to win the Best Player award. He then goes to Qi's family to apologize before kneeling before his shrine. He discovers that Chinese people are being challenged to a battle by a wrestler named Hercules O'Brien as he explores the city. He hasn't lost in any of his fights, and he's sure to win the upcoming one. Hua wants to take him on in order to preserve Chinese tradition, but he will need some cash to do so. He visits Jin Suan's home as his next destination and expresses regret for what transpired years earlier. He claims to have gained knowledge from his mistakes. Jin Sun doesn't waste any time in giving him the money through an assistant after learning why he needs it. Then Hercules faces off against Hua in Shanghai's 1909 race club. Hua's small stature made it seem impossible for him to defeat Hercules, who was twice his size. Hua demands that he and Hercules fight with dignity and respect before the contest starts. Hercules laughed as the announcer took advantage of the language barrier and mistranslated Hua's plea as, "He wants to kick your butt." As soon as the fight begins, Hua has the advantage. Hua prevents the opponent from being pierced by nails on the ring side as the match intensifies. Hercules concedes defeat with excellent sportsmanship, allowing Hua to emerge as the winner. After the one fight, Hua becomes famous and is invited to Shanghai. There, he meets Jin Sun, who suggests they establish the Qin Wu Athletic Association. a location where Chinese pupils are taught the Kung Fu style. In this way, people may protect their heritage despite ongoing pressure from outsiders. A number of representatives from the foreign chamber, meantime, are not fans of Hua's rising popularity among the Chinese people. They worry that because of his victories over foreign fighters, Chinese citizens may become more hostile toward foreigners. Therefore, they suggest a match between Hua and 4 international champions sequentially on a single day in order to ensure he loses in the ring the following time. Mr. Mita, the Japanese ambassador, swears to put an end to Hua for good this time. Hua agrees to participate in the challenge despite the fact that it is challenging and clearly designed to make him lose. He meets his opponent, the Japanese champion Tanaka, the day before the major fight. Over tea, they converse and become friends. Tanaka, unlike those who are funding him, is a fair and honorable athlete like Hua. Rewind to the battle day. Hua is forced to compete against 3 international fighters, but none of them lasts longer than 2 minutes in the ring. Hua is able to easily defeat all 3 of them. Finally, Tanaka challenges him and offers to reschedule after apologizing for the unfair match. The first round begins after Hua indicates everything is fine. Hua and Tanaka each utilize a sanjigun and a katana in their respective battles. They unintentionally switch weapons in the midst of the fierce struggle. Hua offers to switch weapons to provide a fair fight because Tanaka is not very skilled with a sanjigun. The hold-up causes the opening round to end in a tie. Hua sips poison tea as he rests before the following round because Mr. Mita wants him to lose no matter what. Hua collapses shortly after the round begins and quickly starts coughing up blood. Tanaka demands that the fight be stopped for the fighter's safety. Hua wants to carry on while realizing he has been poisoned because he will eventually pass away. Hua uses the same method that killed Chin to strike Tanaka one final time in the chest, despite being worn out and within seconds from passing out. He learns from his errors, though, and refrains from punching this time. But then he passes out. Tanaka proclaims Hua the victor despite the fact that Hua purposefully held back on the punch. In the end, Hua passes away while being held by his companion. Tanaka lashes out indignantly at Mr. Mita for killing a man out of pride. Before leaving, he labels him a disgrace to Japan. Hua's spirit eventually makes it to the field next to Moon's home in the last scene. Despite being blind, she can feel his presence and rushes to embrace him. Subscribe for more videos like this, turn on the notification, and leave a like to help the channel out. Thanks for watching.